Hello and good evening. Welcome to Straight Talk with myself, MsteeqMarlene. Usually, Straight Talk is entertainment and lifestyle, but today is completely a different ballgame. But before I tell you all about it, I must pay respect to my two beautiful friends that I lost during the week. If you're in the entertainment industry in the 80s, my era, you remember Soji Benson. You remember Phase 2. When I heard of Soji passing, I was like, oh, our era is getting smaller. And then only yesterday also, I heard about my, should I call him my high school sweetheart? Chiedu Charles Okafor. When he was in Government College, Omaha, that's what he actually was known for us. But then we all call him Abina. Abina, may you rest in peace. Soji, may you rest in peace. And I please pray for you, ask you for continuous prayers for God to guard their families, comfort their families, and for the dead to rest in peace. Now, back to Straight Talk. Nigerian politics is around the corner. The topic of today's show is campaign crisis. Campaign crisis in Nigerian politics. Is it getting better, or is it getting is it escalating, or is it getting better? To discuss this today, I have a few important personalities with me today. That's why I said it's not entertainment and lifestyle. So today we're talking politics. On my left, I have the privilege to introduce to you an elder statesman, a Royal Highness from Nigeria by Dr. Bala-Tonglele. You're welcome to my show. And it's actually a privilege having you. And when I get back to you, sir, you'll introduce yourself a little bit more. And on my right, I have a political analyst, Mr. Dawudo, Oladeji Dawudo. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much indeed, Miss.
And on the extreme, you already know him. He's not a guest. He's my co-host in Prime View, and also most times co-host here in Straight Talk. None other than Spencer Anienwelu, the biggest analyst we have in the
I'm
UK.
happy to be here, man. Wonderful.
It's a privilege, Spencer.
Nice to be here, too.
It's
Nice. Hi, everyone.
I hope we're able to discuss this crisis that is around the corner, that has come and passed and more to come, especially tomorrow being the presidential election. Whew, where do we start, Spencer? Can I let you?
Well, we've seen the way the campaigns have been going. It's been, thorough and tough on all sides. And, we've seen the way from the last elections to these elections with Goodluck Jonathan, the way he made our politics, he moved it on a bit further from the way it used to be before. So I think this time around there's a lot more to discuss, because we can see there's been a bit of an improvement. That's why we're lucky to have him here today. And him coming from Nigeria, he can tell us how it was on the ground and how the tensions have been, because the campaigns finished yesterday. So now we're on this program, we're not allowed to talk on a partisan kind of point of view.
We're not being partisan.
Yeah, but we're gonna discuss how the campaigns went, what lessons are learned. So we'd like to know from you, for instance. I don't know, should I have the first question?
Yes, please. But before you answer, he throws the first question to you, His Royal Highness. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, your background?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, viewers. Good evening, everybody. My name is His Royal Highness Dr. Ilkias Fido Bala-Tonglele. I'm the official Crown Prince of Plateau State. And Plateau State is the north-central part of Nigeria, according to the geopolitical zones. I spent a bit of time, about 3 months in Nigeria, observing and following the election, both physical observation, and also following it on social media. And I believe that the two political parties, APC and PDP, run a very successful campaign. Each of them neck to neck, trying to demonstrate their potentials. So I think that they did very well in terms of that. But when we go down the nitty-gritties and analyze, then perhaps we'll be able to put the figures together and then see which one really came on top. Thank you.
Well, Spencer.
Yeah. And would you say there's smaller parties this time? Because we had the emergence of the young, the not to run young to run bill was passed. And that, in a way, I'm not sure if that helped, but it probably made a lot more young people come forward. But do you think that this time around there were a lot more younger political parties making an impact in terms of campaigning a lot stronger? Did you see them at all? Or?
I would say that when they began, there was some momentum behind them, but they sort of lost the energy. Okay. And I think they probably ran out of resources. And probably they were not that well organized and ready. Okay. They kind of jumped on the bandwagon of too young to run, assuming it to be sort of a game to play. Yeah. And they did not have structures on ground that could have taken them the distance they wanted to. Yeah. So I think that was perhaps ill-judged at this stage. Okay. Yeah, in my opinion. Okay.
Well, Mr. Dawudo, I come back to you. Hate speech, especially on social media, it was clamped down recently. And do you think this time around, the way the campaigns have gone so far, do you think actually it had help? What's your view on it, the hate speech that was clamped down recently?
Basically, the hate speech, its clamp down is very, very necessary, due to the fact that we all knew what is in the conventional media practitioner tends to have some kind of a code of conduct whereby they follow it, religiously. Everybody knows the rule, the regulation, the do, the don't. For instance, let's look at source of information. As a journalist, if you are arrested, no matter whatever the threat, you shouldn't discuss. You shouldn't disclose the source of your information. You won't discuss. You won't mention anything, how you got your information. But coming to the advent of the social media now, it has actually got out of hand. A situation whereby you see series of, especially on WhatsApp, unlike everything people are just throwing stuff out there without their no any rule and regulation. Nobody follow the strict requirement of information dissemination. So people were just putting everything out there. The government, the clampdown, I believe it could go a long way. But one thing what about the people behind it? There are some, in this part of the world, every handset is being registered. You can easily be traced, know precisely where the person is coming, where that message is being disseminated. But in Africa, where I believe somebody can easily have a phone, I think sometime in Nigeria was where they are doing the registration, and I could have some kind of a discussion between the gentleman, say even the guy who was doing the registration was even saying somebody can register the second one for the person, and you can use that the awareness of data protection, perhaps the person to strictly protect his or her identity. It's not that the awareness is very, very, very low there. So I believe if measures is being put in place to check and to protect the data of people, I think government could be able to really monitor it, to police it precisely how it should be done.
But there should be punishment before you can think of data being more regularized or something. There is no, even for hate speeches, there is no punishment for it in Nigeria. So people can come out and say whatever, even if you know I'm the one saying it, you can do anything to it. So the data, whether the data is monitored, is checked or not.
On that note,
yeah.
that is some of the aspects that some of the people making this hate speech, do they really know there's a law that governs that? For instance, there's a libel, whereby if somebody, defamation, if somebody defame you, you could go to court under tort law. You could be able to sue that person. They say, well, this is a civil matter. You could sue the person. But maybe the National Assembly could enact a law that will draw the attention of people to it. Yeah. But I strongly believe there is a particular law that governs that. Whatever anybody is saying outside there.
Spencer, the peace accord.
Okay.
It was twice actually they carried the meetings of the peace accord. What's your views on that?
Okay, I'll
and how is it affecting the campaign?
Okay, I'll come to that, but I'd like to chip in on what he was saying about the hate speech. You know, if we look at what happened, was it started from the elections in the United States, if you remember, when Donald Trump was running. And that's where all of that really came from. And then we in Nigeria actually imbibed it. And I must give kudos to the administration, because the Minister of Information came out and really came down hard about hate speech. He said they're not going to tolerate it this time in this campaign. And I can see, because I'm very active on Facebook and all that, so I can see on Facebook there was a whole lot of clamping down. If you report it to Facebook that someone has said something, they'll close the account down. You know, so it was really, really serious. So I can see with this election campaign this time around, unlike what happened in 2015, because I remember in 2015 there was all manner of missiles, you know. Then it was a different kind of election, really. But this time around, people were a bit more, they were a bit more cautious as to how they were, speaking. And that's why the peace accord, they signed 2 of them. It was really a good gesture by both, because I think it wasn't just them 2 men, there were all the parties there. And it was a good, gesture to tell all Nigerians that, look, this is not, you don't have to go and kill yourself about it. It's an election. It's a mandate you're going to give to whoever wins for 4 years. And after those 4 years, if they don't perform, you can take it away from them. So it's a temporary thing. So, and I think it was a good gesture, and we need to see a lot more of that. We even need to start seeing local government chairmen. So from my opinion, governorship, peace accords, we need to start going down to that level to be able to make sure that, because it starts from the minor levels. Most of the campaigns, because after the presidential election, there's going to be the governorship. There's going to be, so if we can trickle it down to other levels, then I think it would help in terms of keeping the peace while the elections goes on.
Okay, His Royal. The next question is a straightforward one. Okay. Atiku started with, let's make Nigeria great again. It's a slogan that went viral everywhere. Then APC came with 2. Not only 4+4, but then they also came with the next level. How the slogans these days, how do you think, does it have impact in the campaigns that they're doing?
Of course. I think Atiku is a highly experienced media expert. Yes. And he knows exactly how to use the media to satisfy his ends. And the slogan that he came out with actually gave APC a run for the money. And they kind of got up and said, whoa, this slogan probably could turn us upside down. And the 4+1, the next level, was well thought of. It was a sophisticated, sort of this sophisticated idea that they came out with to counter the
Let's make Nigeria great.
Let's make Nigeria great again. And I think it kind of overshadowed the Let's Make Nigeria Great Again. And all of a sudden, we were seeing 4+4 everywhere, even in Kekena pet riders. Yes. They were all carrying it all along. You find women in the market, you find people in shops, and it became a slogan that all of a sudden, PDP were nervous again. And I think it was very exciting.
They're nervous.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so it was very exciting.
You can't say that amongst them, because they still think they're so making Nigeria great is the best.
Because they came out with a slogan that was fantastic. I think the thing that kind of shot them in the foot was the fact that they had 16 years to make Nigeria great and didn't do so.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden they want to make Nigeria great again. So the next level kind of step on them and put them and say, well, make Nigeria great again, but we're going to the next level, which is higher than make Nigeria great again. I think that was a sophisticated slogan. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Mr. Dawudo, funds, lack of funds. When PDP, 16 years, when PDP were campaigning, when they're in power, during election, there's so much funds that are out there. disbursed out there for elections, for campaigns, for rallies and all that. But this time around, we didn't see a lot of it. Does it mean that it's better not having enough money to run the campaign, or safer not having money to run campaign, or what's your view on that, if there's any changes at all?
From my own observation, and when one wanted to look at it from the situation point of view of the party itself, you have to remember that during the last election, PDP was in power, and the style of that government then, there are many friends or party followers, because after after the 2015 election, we all witnessed a lot of clampdown on people and arrest of people due to the fact that they said money some of government funds were disbursed into politics. Many funds went to some few people. Then recovering of this, I don't want to use any word now, it seems as if one is being against any other party. So looking at PDP to find itself in an opposition situation, it will be very difficult with the style of this present administration of anti-corruption. So even if you have any fund, it will be extremely difficult for anybody to display, wealth, or perhaps spending recklessly. So I believe the clampdown on corruption, perhaps that anti-corruption, non-tolerance of corruption, zero tolerance of corruption by President Muhammad Buhari, played significant role. And that's why when you compare this present election to subsequent one that we've had in Nigeria, honestly, this one is extremely different. That is my point.
Doctor, do you feel the same too? Is there an opinion to that?
Yes, I think he sanitized the entire electoral process by ensuring that if you are a politician, make sure that you are wealthy and you are ready and you can spend your own money. And if you are going to expect government to finance or bankroll you into office, you may be kidding yourself. And so somebody posted something on social media stating that it's 2 days before the election and Central Bank has not withdrawn any money at all for elections. Okay? Indicating that previously Central Bank was being mandated to release money for election. This time around, it didn't happen. So I think some kind of sanity has been brought into the electoral process, where we must give credit to President Muhammad Buhari as a result of that one. We're not talking about any party and so on, but in terms of the campaign finances, we must give credit to the president for ensuring that everyone financed their own campaign from their pocket.
And Spencer, you too.
Yeah. Okay, on the campaign financing, it was clear that this time around, even there's on social media, like you said, there's this joke that everywhere President Muhammad goes, he has the keys of the CBN in his pocket. So they said if you want to get the money, go to the rally and you might rob him there. So he's actually sanitized the system. And even the international community have come out and said, look, it looks like Nigeria on the right path now, where there's less money involved in our campaigns. You can see where even President Muhammad Buhari himself, where he had so many groups, even the last time I saw, I don't want it to make it like I'm campaigning for him, it's over, but we had, I think there was farmers that donated money for him, those kind of things, so many groups, they were putting funds together, so those were ways, and he's encouraging that for next subsequent elections, that we're not going to start seeing big money bags, coming with funds, so that's it. But I wanted to go back to the next level. The slogan. The slogan. I remember there was an issue about the next level slogan. If you remember, they tried to say it was copied from somewhere, but in actual fact, it wasn't. The one that sounded copied to us was the let's make Nigeria great again.
Oh, please, how can you go
because that's what that was said in the United States. No, but anyway, but the point I wanted to make is that slogans, right? These days we've seen that slogans do make a difference. And with the 4+4 and the next level, right? And if you check the last election, the slogan that took over was change.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So we can see that if you have an original thought behind your slogan, it actually makes the electorate think about what you're coming in to do. So if you copy in people, or people will see through that. It'll be so. That's why you see that certain slogans were taken over by others.
Yeah. So okay, still on the former topic, but to rephrase it a little bit, crowd buying. I'll start with you, Spencer. Crowd buying.
Okay, crowd. You mean like if they're renting the crowd?
Yes, because when APC, when APC campaigned in somewhere in the north, we were told some president was visible, and some of their people were there. Yeah,
I think the president of Niger.
Yeah,
but you know that this is one thing that we've seen over the years where it's assumed that come election time that there's this way of going out to pay people money. I remember even in the last elections, I remember it happened there in London when President Muhammadu Buhari came outside Chatham House. I was there. People were giving out funds.
Yeah, they shared.
You know, the people were mobilized to come there. So I'm just saying, in Nigeria, there's this allegation that it's happened. But however, I must say this though, there's this counter thought that certain individuals in the campaign are not using rented crowds. That's what's been said, that the crowd you're seeing are just passionate supporters. So I'm just saying, I don't know, is it changing? He'll probably be able to tell us, you know, what your opinion is.
I heard about it on social media, but in actual sense, it is part of the political slogan by opponents. Whenever a particular party has a successful rally, they will come out with the view that they rented a crowd, so as to tarnish the image or to dampen the impact of such a rally. Anywhere I saw on the APC, the reason why a lot of people die on a stampede is because of the large number of people turn out. So when there are so many people around, it becomes difficult for the police, if they budgeted X number of people to control the crowd, and 10 times of the crowd turn up, you cannot control those crowd properly. Hence, whenever there's an incident, the stampede can result into safety issues.
But do you think those crowds are rented? You know what you're saying?
So
like, you know, like buying crowds.
To rent a crowd of that magnitude, you have to break the central bank to achieve that kind of this thing. I saw,
you know, both parts, like two of the major contenders had large crowds.
They had crowds. Yeah. So I think that there are followers, and there are genuine followers that come out, but there are also people who are hoping they will get something out of the event. And so they come out as well. And usually there are some people who give out gifts to people. So some of the crowds that you see, I would say that they are genuine individuals who are passionate about their candidates, and they came out to support them. Crowd renting is something new because we haven't really witnessed it in Nigeria. If, however, one is to say that the individuals who are taunting and using hate speeches when vehicles are passing could be said to have been rented, that may be possible. Because people could do that. But in terms of the number of crowd that follow the convoy, I doubt it very much.
Okay, so let me take it off a bit from presidency to states.
All right.
Kwara State, for instance, there's this Saraki dynasty. For how many years now they have been there? Regardless the party, APC or PDP. What's your view on keeping my people? It's not just in Kwara. I'm using Kwara for now. It's in Owerri, in Imo State.
Imo State, yeah.
Yeah, Rochas. Even in my own state, Abia State, the TYOG and the rest of them wants to retain their people. And a few states, is there anything like, this is my father's property, Nigeria is my father, or let's say the state belongs to my father? or my my hometown or my people. What's your view on those? Or should I call them the political godfathers?
Let's first of all look at it from this angle. You see, in politics, personal interest come first.
Yes.
In politics, and some of the allegations people have been levied in some of these states. I believe that those who haven't tried it, or perhaps who don't have that view, maybe neutral, maybe not be wish to do that, or perhaps okay. Regarding dynasty, can you remember? Let us try to look at the United States of America, the Kennedys. You understand? So in some other country as well, but due to the fact that we don't have much time, it won't give me the opportunity of starting to be mentioning countries. So in Kwara State, for instance, the late Dr. Olusola Saraki, he had impacted into people. Those are the old generation. So at that time, he's a person that they believe, and with his own track record of being close to the people in the grassroots, he had worked assiduously. He had done that. So presently, the issue that his own son is having with others, it's coming from opposition. And there's no anything that stretch that is going to be forever. We all know that even governance, one particular government can be there, or particular party. Okay, look at United UK, for instance. There was a time that conservative ruled. Then later it came to Labour Party. Later there is kind of an unparliamentary whereby the two parties has to merge, having a coalition government. So in the in Nigerian case, cases like that of Imo State, I think is quite different from that of Kwara, because in Imo State, Roger Korosha intended to install somebody that he strongly believed in, and the same thing happened in Ogun State, while Amosu was supporting Akinlade. So it has been common within the political landscape whereby an incumbent governor, or perhaps somebody who's going, is more interested in a person that will succeed him, due to the fact that they believe that maybe there's a kind of a blueprint or perhaps a structure that has been laid down, and they said they want continuity, but the person who has that structure is in best position to say it. But when people are accusing individual in politics, we, the ordinary people on the street, won't know precisely what is underneath. So in this regard, it's only the electorate that need to be educated and know precisely the person they are going to vote for, or perhaps to know the party they are going to support. Look at what is happening in Nigeria now. The two main political parties, that is the APC and the PDP. They both have the same political ideology. But the people behind it, the people behind the parties are different. In PDP, majority of them are conservative. While in the progressive, the APC as well, you have some conservative who are there, who are still there, who had actually crossed carpet to the other party. That's why you are seeing that people are crossing from 1 to 2. And the interest of them is, their interest is paramount, because they are going to where they believe that they are going to win the election. So nobody be in any party with political ideology anymore. People are just going to party to win election.
His Royal Highness, what's your take on that? Political godfathers.
You know, when they use the word political godfathers, they kind of El Chapo the whole thing. They make it look like drug barons dealing with. This is serious matters.
Yes.
And running a country is a serious issue. And what people do not understand, the structure of leadership, is that a dynasty is a trend line of rulers who basically understand how to govern. And they create development of a society to where it should be. They have a vision. When you select people who only come in because they are interested in just the name and the fame, they come in, and that's why you get bad government and bad governance. So this dynasty, say, he mentioned a blueprint. That's exactly the point. That when the governor have designed a blueprint of how he envisaged the state to advance to the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, he now handpicked leaders that he thinks they will understand the blueprint. And he trains them to ensure that they continue with the blueprint that he has put in place. Electorates do not understand that. They think that politics is about sharing money. Therefore, they are feeling you are dictating to them. But you see, the electorate do not see where you're going. You are the person that has got the pinhead and the arrowhead to design the future of the state, because you've sat there, you've identified, you've analyzed, and you realize, oh, we're lacking here and there and there and there. Why wasn't this done before? Now I'm going to make it happen. And this is the chart I'm going through. And therefore, when I finish my tenure, unfortunately it's 4 years or 8 years, when I finish my tenure, who is best placed to take it from where I've left it to the next level? And you now handpick leaders that you groom to take that forward. Now, when the next guy comes in and he is not of the same disposition, he starts all over again, which means that everything you've done up to this level is abandoned, including the resources that you have actually spent on that. And he comes in with another idea of his own, and you start all over again. And hence in Africa, and Nigeria in particular, the reason why we have unemployment, why we have factories not working, we have industry not working, is because of the chop and change. If we allow continuity of dynasty, it may seem like dictatorship, but it creates development. Europe was built on that basis, not on chop and change. And until we begin to understand that continuity of leadership is what develops a country, we will keep chop and change, chop and change, chop and change, and go nowhere. And then we'll still complaining that our leaders are not performing. Yeah. These are the problems.
Okay, I think for me, I'll see from this angle. What he said is he's highlighting the pros and cons of Godfatherism, if you want to term it, or continuity. But if, for instance, the Godfather, let's take, for instance, I would say from my perspective, Lagos State. Lagos State has that continuity he's talking about. And we all know Lagos State has a Godfather. But we can see the dividends, that people can say, well, this Godfather tends to be yielding, always giving us someone good that's gone on to do well. So if people are seeing that, I don't think anybody will complain. But the reason why people are, sometimes it may be in the case of Imo State, for instance, or some other places, is you go to those states, you might see one or two things, but there's no concrete development going on. People are saying, for how long are we going to be subservient to these kind of people? We want to see the change. And that's why you see people saying, look, no to Godfatherism, because they're saying that once somebody bad comes in and takes a hold of a state, they could keep it in their pockets, really, and become like you said, in Kwara State. It'll become their own dynasty, and then they will be milking the state.
Let me stop you right there for a few minutes. Let's just go on a very short break, because we're almost rounding up, but let's go on a very short break and come back. When we come back, we'll continue from where we start. Stay tuned.
My daughter-in-law, so how are you planning for my son's birthday? No, I have to cook up for her. Do you people have ogirisi there? No. It's okay. Okay, let me call you back. Mama Chijuke. Hi, so wait a market. Please pack some ogirisi. I am going to visit my son. My daughter-in-law, it's arranged, but you must use original red oil to prepare the soup. What? I'll call you back. Mama Chijo, please include Isio Morocco. My daughter-in-law, everything is now set. But don't forget that gold wristwatch I saw the last time I visited you.
Now you can talk until you tire for just 11 kobo a second. Call all networks in Nigeria and 30 international destinations, including US, UK, China, Canada, and India for just 11 kobo per second. Dial *211# to activate.
That's Silk Boo-Boo.
The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
Heritage Television. Promoting African culture and heritage at its best. From talk shows that concern you to both local and international news that relates to you. From grassroots football to African children's programs. Heritage Television. We cover your social and special events like weddings, birthdays, church anniversaries, and so on, and broadcast them live on our apps and online. Heritage Television, broadcasting everything about culture and heritage. Heritage Television. We've got it covered. Do download our apps on both Android, iOS, and Windows mobile platform. Heritage Television, your very own TV station.
Welcome back. You are still tuned to Straight Talk with myself, MsteeqMarlene, and we're reaching to you here in London, heart of London, Heritage Television, and we'll be streaming via Private TV, Straight Talk, my show, MsteeqMarlene on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube Live. Please follow me on Instagram. I haven't been saying this before. I just thought about it. Follow me on Instagram, MsteeqMarlene. And I hope my program has been okay. And please subscribe in YouTube. I appreciate it. Last time, I thank everybody that watched, that viewed. I use the word viewed. My last program on Senator Ben Owajimogu. And today, I hope we're reaching to you politically, positively, because of this election coming up on Saturday, which is tomorrow in Nigeria. It is a very crucial one. I said we're going to start from where we stopped, but Spencer, sorry I have to cut you short a little bit, because now we have to go straight to what's really bothering me. You're from the eastern part of Nigeria. Abia State. No, you're from Anambra State, but also you're Igbo.
That's correct.
These boycotts of the election.
Yeah.
APGA is there, PDP is there, APC is there, YPP is there, DNP, DGA or whatever PPP is there. All these parties. And if Igbos don't vote, what's your view and what do you think about the IPOB threats to people coming out to vote?
First of all, you need to understand the perspective or the reason why they're talking about having this boycott. Then, you now judge whether it makes sense or not. I mean, from their perspective, they're saying that since they've been voting over the years, what has it amounted to? They want to secede. So since they want to secede, they see it as being part of the elections or voting shows that they're actually supporting whoever's going to come in. So in their own thinking, it's about abstaining and showing, defiance and saying that we don't want to be part of this entity called Nigeria. All right? But for me, I've always said, and I've always made it clear on my writings, that whether you vote or not, the outcome of the elections would mean that somebody is going to actually, in the end, be in charge of you. So as long as you're still part of Nigeria, the best thing you should be doing or thinking about doing now is to exercise your franchise, go out, vote for whoever you feel best suits or, represents your interest. And we have a few of them. I mean, even in the PDP, for instance, they have Peter Obi, who's there. He's an Igbo man. He's not going to go in there and forget his people. In the YPP, we have Kingsley Moghalu. And I think recently they've actually come back and made a rescind now for maybe some, I don't know what came over them again. They've now decided, okay, they're no more, they've called off the boycott. Yeah. Which to everyone was saying it's a good development, Yeah. But the idea in itself, for me, is very, very wrong. You cannot go out and tell your people not to be part of electoral process, which in all, intents and purposes determines how they're going to live,
Mr. Dawudo, yes, we heard a few hours ago it's been called off, but there are the grassroots, the real people that vote. Most of them are not educated enough to, like the news, we heard it in the news. How do you get this across to them now, to say, because it's only a day before the election?
Okay, thank you very much indeed. I would like to draw your attention to a particular governor. The governor is late now, may he so rest in perfect peace. That is Alhaji Abubakar Rimi of Kano State. He had some kind of problem with some of his political associates. Yes. And they are telling him that, look, I can't remember precisely what happened, but he said it loud and clear. He said his supporters, they don't rely on television or radio or perhaps newspaper. the information is going to reach them and is going to win the election. That I think there was a campaign then. Then he won the election. So with Nigerian system of politics, some of the things we are reading outside there, things that go underneath is more than what we see.
True.
Because the politicians, Nigerian politicians, I really commended their efforts. I had participated in the election here in United Kingdom, here in London, whereby we do what we call door-to-door campaign. But in Nigeria, do you know that the politicians had perfected how to reach the people? And they know how to reach them. And the people themselves know how to reach their leaders. So that's why recently, you know what happened? A particular political leader said, he strongly believes in this. People. He said his people made him a leader. And without them, he's no more a leader. He's ready to listen to them. Their interests come first before his own. So even at the last minute that this boycott was called off, you know, when the news from them, when we saw the news that it's been called boycott, I mean, it's been called off. The grassroots people, I think in the statement issue, they said the stakeholders. So you have to believe that the so-called stakeholders must have actually reaching out to the people who are going to vote. And either newspaper announcement or perhaps radio or television announcement, the grassroots, the news is already with them before coming to the media.
Sorry, man, can I ask a question? I was going to ask, because you talked about grassroots.
Yeah.
The question is about social media. I was going to say, how impactful do you think social media has been on the grassroots? You know, because, you know, you talked about grassroots, I'm wondering, you know, you coming from Nigeria, how far-reaching has it been? Especially the question is for me. Is it, well,
okay. Let me take it. We mentioned earlier on when we were analyzing the impact of the social media. It's significant because over there, there's no censorship. Nobody is gagging anybody. For instance, in the conventional media, an editor will scrutinize a report, or perhaps any report being written by any reporter. The duty of editor is to look at it. Even at times, they can call the people behind the press release to confirm. Newspapers, television houses, radios, they work hand to hand before they publish anything. But the advent of the so-called social media, everybody now is an editor, everybody is producer, everybody is director. You see some people, even some people, without the language, without the decorum, you see many things there. So it has an impact.
But is it trickling down
to those people that are passing the information to?
What Spencer is trying to say is, like now, they've called it off.
Yes. Is it going to reach?
Yes.
It has. That's what I said earlier, that this information, before even the press release will come out to get to the newsroom, the people they need already aware of it. That's why I mentioned that the governor defended his people.
I don't think so, sir. Let's we just go from Nigeria.
The social media. Based on my research analysis, about 40% of the populations are highly adept with social media. Highly adept with social media. The population of Nigeria is approaching 200 millions. I would say that about 140 million of those have got mobile phones. That's how wide mobile phone has been put to use. But only 35% of those with mobile phones actually have WhatsApp.
Smartphones, you mean?
Yes, smartphones, exactly. I'm in the grassroots. The villagers, almost the old lady on the market has got a small phone. She doesn't need all those apps. The apps are irrelevant. She needs to know that her grandchildren are okay, her children are okay, her neighbors are okay. A little call comes in, she switches the phone off in the morning when she goes to her and put it back on when she comes back in the evening. And then switch it off at the night time. All those calls, I've witnessed them. I've got a group of volunteers at home that were working on some projects. And about 300 widows are involved. And out of the 300 widows, 50% of them have got mobile phone. None of which has got any WhatsApp facilities.
Do they have WhatsApp?
None.
No.
None.
Because there's no small Nokia phones.
Exactly. But some of all of these issues that are happening in the cities and all the hate speech, they have no clue whatsoever. And in fact, even when you send a text message, I pick up a phone belonging to one old lady. She's got 475 texts that she not read.
I know what you mean. Yes. So
media.
So it's still not. It hasn't gotten down to that level.
So the social media is impacting on the educated people from secondary school upward who's got mobile phone.
Yes.
But the average grandma and grandpa and the young people right in the villages, they can't even afford the smartphone. But they have a phone. All these guys that drive keke napep, okay, they don't have smartphone and they're not interested in smartphone. So what I'm trying to say is that we sometimes hype up the impact of social media on this political campaign heavily, but in reality, a world of some of all this that we're saying does not hit to the grassroots, and this is where I think APC has an advantage in respect of the followership, because majority of those who are APC supporters are the ordinary grassroots people who basically do not believe in social media. And one thing with them that when they've made up their mind, you can't influence them.
So it's like, it's like in the debates. You know, I just forgot about the debates. What about the campaign?
That's right.
You know, the debates. So you're saying that even some of that people didn't even watch it?
Yes.
You know
they didn't watch it at all. They didn't watch it at all. So to round up, what I'm trying to say is that in all totality, President Muhammad Buhari has got this sort of cult followership that people simply believe because of the sincerity of the man. People all of a sudden believe that he is a messiah. And I leave it at that until we see what happens.
Okay. And then, diaspora. We're here. Our votes. We've talked about this over and over and over again. Our votes don't count. Hopefully one day it will count. But don't you think they're depriving us? I'm sending that to you, sir. What's your view on diasporas? How do you think the impacts we're making in this election? Are we making any impact, or are we being sectionalized somehow?
The diaspora has been at the forefront of Nigerian politics. In fact, most of the programs are actually championed by the diasporans. We are the people who have actually identified the direction of the political structures within Nigeria. I'm surprised and disappointed that the National Assembly had passed a law which excludes the people from diaspora from participating in the voting system. We are claiming to use a political structure that involves democracy, which is imported from the West. And from the West, people, even when they are in China or whatever, their votes, always called postal votes, are sent to the home nation to be counted. Why then is it that the Nigerian in diaspora have been excluded by the so-called National Assembly that's supposed to be a very elitist society that is well advanced in everything else, democracy, but excluded the diasporans from participating in the voting or the registering to vote? I think that's an area where they have failed to recognize the importance and the value of the diasporans. And I should not expect it to go beyond this next parliament to include us, because it should be done.
Mr. Dawudo, what's your view on that?
My view on that has to do with, you see, in the government, before they take any decision, they look at the policy itself, they look at the security impact of it, and they look at how it's going to be carried out. Now, we've been having a series of allegations, counter allegations regarding elections in Nigeria. So if, for instance, in other countries, I of the opinion that there's nothing stop us being implemented that by our own legislators, for them to look at a situation whereby they should enact a law that enable the Nigerians in diasporas to vote. Because most of Nigerians who are in diaspora, you can see their political awareness is so high, the momentum. But now, when there's no any act that enables somebody who is in the United States of America, Germany, France, United Kingdom, and other foreign countries to participate in. Maybe I'm not the spokesperson of the government, but I believe that the politicians themselves have been extremely concerned. You know one thing, for instance, now, within the Nigerian system, within the states, see the security measure being put in place to ensure that there's no any manipulation. For instance, in London, or perhaps United States of America, where we've witnessed election, we don't see the security forces being participated openly. For instance, now in Nigeria now, there's the Inspector of Police are actually issued a statement that there's going to be clamped down on movement of vehicles, that vehicles are not going to, there won't be movement of vehicles. All these security measures being put in place purposely to prevent rigging or perhaps allegation of rigging, allegations of manipulations. So if there is a measure that government think they could put in place, because we have to think of that as well. We are looking at it straightforward that there should be this. But in governance, they look at some security measures before policy is being promulgated.
Spencer, recently, you met the commission. Is he a director or whatever in Diaspora, for Diasporas in Nigeria? Yeah, you met her recently. Yeah. What's conspired and what are they thinking about?
Okay.
How they,
because they've actually formed, it's called the Diaspora Commission.
Yes.
Yeah? And that commission, obviously, that's why to me, I think it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
We're definitely diasporans are going to get the vote. But like he said, certain things need to be in place. Now they formed this Diaspora Commission, which is headed by diasporans, really, from United States, UK, across the world, really. And then now they formed that, the next stage would be to see how we can form a body. I think they have NIDO also. Yeah, they're probably going to form a body which will now, package together a kind of bill which will take care of some of the problems you're highlighting in terms of ensuring it's rig-free, maybe if we're going to go on to electronic voting, to make it seamless, And if you look at it, diasporans, they said there's something like over 2 million of us in diaspora. And we made something like $21 billion a year to Nigeria. So we do have a say in what goes on in Nigeria. They do identify with it.
We should.
Yeah, we should. We still do, because the reason I'm saying what we do is, even with, like I said, I was telling this to somebody the other day. I called my dad, for instance, the other day, and told him, I said to my dad, this is the only way diasporans are making an impact at the moment.
Yeah.
I called my dad and I said to him, who is he going to vote for? And he told me so, and I said, look, no, you have to vote for this, this kind of candidate or that. And my dad was asking me why, and I had to explain to him. And in the end, when I spoke to him a few days ago, he said he's going to vote for who I told him. So I can see that most people in diaspora are doing that at the moment. Yeah. But eventually we're going to get to the stage where we will have a vote ourselves, and I know it's a matter of time. It's only going to,
Oh, well, we are almost coming to the end of the show. So please, 1 minute from each and every one of you, please, advice you have to give to this election that is tomorrow.
My advice to the electorate, because the politicians, they know how to take care of themselves, and when you see two politicians making argument or perhaps counter arguments, they are friends. I mean, allegation and counter allegations, they are friends. But you ordinary people on the street there who are going to the poll to cast your vote, I advise that you should go there peacefully, cast your vote, and go back home peacefully. All the agencies are there to ensure that the poll is going to be free and fair. So we should leave those who are doing their job to do it. Your own responsibility, civil responsibility, is for you to go and vote and ensure that you do precisely what the Constitution has given you.
Spencer.
I would say to Nigerians out there, don't be bullied by anyone. Go out there, exercise your franchise. It's your right. The president has told you it's your right. Don't get engaged in any violence. None of the politicians are going to expose their children to violence, so don't be used. Go out there, vote your choice, vote wisely, and, pray well for Nigeria. Vote, cast your vote. If you need to protect your vote, if the vicinity is safe, to hang around and make sure you find out who won or whatever, do that. But if it's not, just put in your vote and calmly go home and pray for Nigeria. That's all I got to say. Sorry.
His Royal Highness.
Thank you. Well, to thank all the candidates that have put in their names to participate in Nigerian democracy. You have shown some degree of maturity in our democracy, and you've demonstrated that Nigeria can conduct an election successfully. It can conduct campaigns that are successful, and I thank you all for making Nigeria great, and we will continue to support all and any party that emerges as the winner of this election. Thank you very much.
Well, you've heard it from all of us. Before I close, I must thank my guests here, Mr. Dawudo, for coming. Thank you. Spencer, for joining. Thank you. And His Royal Highness.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you
it's
coming.
A pleasure.
But my advice to every single one of us is, please, vote wisely. Go out there, throw in your vote, and leave. And my Igbo brothers and sisters, please, let there be peace. Let peace reign. Call us Biafra, call us Nigeria. But just go in there and vote. If you don't vote in who you want to be there, it will continue. It will still be the same old story. If you're not happy with what you're having now, go and make a change. Change is the word for me. Not making Nigeria great, not 4+4, not the next level. Go there and make a change that will benefit you and your family and the rest of us that is here in Diaspora. On this note, till next week, and I must tell you, next week we're going into governor aspirants, and we have a young man, Linus Okorie from Imo State, YPP, and other governors that we have to talk about next week. On that note, stay tuned, and it's still Straight Talk with myself, MsteeqMarlene. Have a good night.
Heritage Television. Promoting African culture and heritage at its best. From talk shows that concern you to both local and international news that relates to you. From grassroots football to African children's programs. Heritage Television. We cover your social and special events like weddings, birthdays, church anniversaries, and so on, and broadcast them live on our apps and online. Heritage Television, broadcasting everything about culture and heritage. Heritage Television. We've got it covered. Do download our apps on both Android, iOS, and Windows mobile platform. Heritage Television, your very own TV station.
My daughter-in-law. So how are you planning for my son's birthday? I have to cook for her. Do you people have ogirisi there? No. It's okay. Okay, let me call you back. Mama Chiji, okay. Hi, so wait a market. Please pack some ogirisi. I am going to visit my son. My daughter-in-law. It's arranged. But you must use original red oil to prepare the soup. What? I'll call you back. Mama Chijo, please include Isio Morocco. My daughter-in-law. Everything is now set. But don't forget that gold wristwatch I saw the last time I visited.
Now you can talk until you tire for just 11 kobo a second. Call all networks in Nigeria and 30 international destinations, including US, UK, China, Canada, and India for just 11 kobo per second. Dial *211# to activate.
That's Silk Boo-Boo.
The largest data network, Glow, Grandmasters of Data.